All right, it's been a long time, almost I think 6 months, just for the podcast. But it is the On the Mic podcast. It is back, and it's been an even longer time since I last spoke to this man. I've got a lot of respect for him as a coach, as a person. It's UFC 259 Fight Week. We've said this before. It's not the greatest female fighter of all time. It doesn't matter about gender. Without a doubt, one of the greatest fighters, if not the greatest fighter of all time, Amanda Nunes, steps in the cage this weekend at UFC 259. She'll take on Megan Anderson. So, of course, one of her coaches, last time he was on here, we talked about the father-daughter relationship they have. So I don't know if I want to call him Grandpa yet because Amanda's got the baby.
Yes, yes.
But he is Conan Silveira out of ATT, American Top Team in Florida. Coach, how are you?
Really good from here, from Vegas. The week of the fight, everything's going perfect. Pretty much everything. Weight training, happiness. Everything is in the right place. Just waiting for Saturday.
I'm going to start this off with a curveball. So we saw Amanda, during the pandemic and all that, and that's obviously hard. People I think have criticized Amanda in the past. She has the sinus issues. I saw people saying, well, there's a pandemic going on. We probably won't see Nunes fight at all because, Nina's pregnant. You don't want to risk the baby or anything like that. And she came out and just did her thing again and again and just continued to stay the course. And we're now approaching 1 full year since the COVID-19 pandemic really affected everyone's life worldwide. Are you starting to feel like a little sense of normalcy back? I know obviously it's not the same being a coach, being in the gym all the time. It's not how it was 12 months ago, but are you starting to feel like slowly but surely your team and life is getting back to normal?
Let me give a different angle from this whole situation. Definitely, you're right. Pandemic changed everybody's life, changed everybody's the way people were doing things, 100%. But I believe that we have one incredible tools in our hands, in our lives, the way we are, called adaptation. Adapt yourself. And I think then being a fighter, coach, or just simply just being a human being, you got to use that tool. And that probably was one of the best times for you to adapt yourself. And that's exactly what we as a team did. We didn't stop 1 second. We create schedules, we separate trains. We, of course, training and doing everything and on the safe side, of course, protecting everybody as much as we could. But we didn't stop. And in 1 second, I feel that things are getting back to normal. I would say normal, being normal must be something. Then yes, eventually in another few months we're going to have public watching the fights. Probably yes, but I think that is a big lesson on this, on this time for people to understand a lot of things. Then they probably were running so fast, without worrying about the direction, But yes, the speed then stopped, kind of stopped everybody and gave people a little bit more time to be conscious about themselves. Um, 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 as a team, man, doesn't matter. We keep pushing, we keep doing. Nothing stop us. We make the decision. It's always about you make the decision of being stopped or not. Know what everybody wants. So I pretty much, I think that answers the question.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say I think as a team aspect, you talk about people just not slowing down. I think I don't know if you'll agree with me here, but I think one thing this kind of pandemic did for all fighters, no matter what level they're at, and coaches too. You're so used to going into the gym. You got a whole team of fighters, and we start practice at this time, and it's like everyone's on top of everybody. And then you start to realize when you got to rearrange schedules, like you said, and it's private training, and then it's lesser classes. It's just a big change.
Yes, you're right. The whole commotion, the whole change, but it's always ways for you to see the change. If we never saw the change as a as a panic way, not as a, we saw a, let's find a solution instead of enjoying the problem. So for us, it was more, okay, if we can do it this way, what are options we're going to have, or are options we're going to create? Because things got to keep going. So we don't have the time to really, stop crying. Oh my God, what are we going to do now? We don't have the time. We do have the time to say, all right, let's together find a solution. If we can have everybody together, we have different groups, we have different times. We have to stop this and continue to do that. I mean, gotta be the way, you gotta adapt yourself pretty much.
I know Amanda and Nina, obviously, new parents during the pandemic. But I got to ask you, I feel like, okay, so she's got this test, and Megan Anderson, and we'll talk about the fight, obviously. That's why we're here, to talk about the fight. But, people coming into this fight this week, Megan Anderson is a huge betting underdog, and people are just talking about Amanda just getting in and doing her thing again. And some people have said, like, how much longer is she going to be around? Because, now she's a mother, and like, how is parenthood going to change her career? I'm going to flip it. I think being a new parent and being in, her beautiful marriage with Nina and welcoming, their child into this world, you think that's going to make Amanda more focused to just continue cementing her legacy?
Through this new phase of Amanda, being a mother, a lot of people ask me, how that will motivate her to be a better fighter, to still keep the driving, about her goals and be the champion in two divisions. And as funny can sound, I say, I don't think then she already has her own motivation. Being a mother make her dangerous. It's not about motivation. The motivation, she does have it. Being a mother made her more dangerous. So it's a different feeling. The motivation, to keep yourself in two divisions, being above being the GOAT as a fighter, now she's extremely dangerous because she has the motivation on her, and she has more reasons, or a big reason, to keep going. So the motivation is not exactly the word. It is, motivation. Of course, she does have the baby brings the motivation, being
Right.
having a daughter, but she became more dangerous now.
What was it?
Go ahead.
What was it like training a more dangerous Amanda for this camp? A first-time mother, Amanda Nunes. Like, did you notice anything different in her?
Let me from the day one to right now, the belief, the motivation, the confidence, and all these good qualities that you need to have about yourself. She had it from the day one. So, and our relation is very different than trainer and fighter. Of course, we do have it, of course, but I don't. I can't see her with the same eyes. Like we very close. The closest we have to each other kind of gives me a better of a understanding about her, and vice versa. So she's just, I feel that she's more dangerous. I think that's the only thing I can, I can repeat and say, it is not, you see, of course, we don't take the underdog situation because Megan this and Megan that. That is really, we don't train less because the numbers say that she is underdog. That is not, never is going to be our way to see a challenge. But she takes it extremely serious. She looks Megan and say, "Hey, I'm going to bring a war. It's going to be a war." And it's not based on what Megan is going to do. It's based on Amanda has to do.
No, it makes absolute perfect sense. So I'll stick on the baby topic here for a second. How many diapers have you changed since?
No, not yet, not yet.
I mean, we talked
but
about
eventually
like,
I will. Yeah, I mean, I'm used to that. I have kids, so I have a 3.5 years old at home. So
okay.
yeah. So yeah, but that's not a big deal. I enjoy that. Is as family something, you know, unbelievable.
I'll call you when I have my first one and I need help.
I'll definitely give you good instructions on that.
So talking about this fight at UFC 259, Amanda Nunes, Megan Anderson, one thing for me is, and this is not to take away from either Amanda or Megan, I think it's a valid question to ask, like, no matter who wins, what's next for that division? I mean, do you have confidence as a coach, not just Amanda's coach, but as a coach, do you have confidence that the women's featherweight division will stay around in the UFC after this weekend?
Let me answer the first part of the question.
Yeah.
Does matter who wins. I don't have the and don't take me the wrong way, but matters, always gonna matters. We choose to win all the time, and it doesn't cross my mind and in 1 second about losing. And you're gonna say, but man, it is a fight. Yeah, it is a fight, but I'm not gonna go to the fight thinking on a half an inch that I'm gonna lose, or she's gonna lose, or we're gonna lose. I want to just give a little bit of understand that.
Of course.
I believe then as Amanda keep going in both divisions, because definitely she has to fight on the 35 after she fights Saturday on the 45. I do believe they're gonna keep it. I mean, as Amanda's being the champion, I don't know what's gonna happen after Megan. I have no idea. But I hope they keep it, because she's been defending both divisions. So it's just a matter of, I think, UFC, keeping the division.
What has it been like for you to see? Because the spotlight's on Israel Adesanya. They're trying to make him the next megastar this weekend, and I get all that, but like, I'm coming into this week, and I know when I step out this weekend to watch the fights, I'm coming with a message of like, okay, this isn't a female fight stuck between two male title fights. This is Amanda Nunes' world, and all due respect to Weili Zhang and Valentina Shevchenko, but we've never seen someone just clean their division out the way Amanda has, and then do it twice in two separate divisions. So seeing the growth and rise of her career, where would you say Amanda is at? And like, almost with the UFC, we're like, let's say it all goes according to plan for you guys on Saturday, and Dana White doesn't know how to answer what's next at 145. I feel like Amanda has done enough in her career that she could walk up to Dana and say, you're keeping 145 alive. I want to continue to defend both belts. Haven't we reached that point?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know the answer. As I believe then, as much as she wins, and as much as she's in a position of asking for, I'm not going to say giving an order, but asking for, put it this way. I do believe they will keep it. It's a matter of having opponents. It's a matter of having, the challenges. I believe that. I think then she clean faster than they find opponents for her. Pretty much she went through every single name. Even on the 35 division, it is hard. When you have Amanda Nunes as opponent, it is hard, and I give them a lot of credit, because how are you going to find somebody, and when I'm saying it's not about the quantity, it's about quality, right. And I'm not in any time disrespecting any other fighter on the 35 or neither 45. It's just because the level of what Amanda is right now, and the level where the opponents and what the division comes, it has a little space between.
Without a doubt. I mean, I don't think that's
And
disrespectful.
I'm trying to put this in a very respectful way.
Oh, no. And I don't think it's disrespectful at all. I think you would not be watching fighting if you wouldn't agree with that. You wouldn't understand the sport if you didn't realize there are levels to this, and Amanda's just on a different level. I mean, it's a story as old as this sport. There are fighters who come in and they're just at a different level. Eventually, who knows what happens, but let's talk about Megan Anderson from a coaching perspective, because when you have these big underdog fights, it's kind of funny to me that, Aljamain Sterling will fight Peter Yan this weekend for the bantamweight title. Aljo has come up through Matt Serra and Sarah BJJ and Ray Longo. I know he's in Vegas now, but he had that coach who was the underdog. And then you have Megan and Amanda, and then Megan is almost in essence like Matt Serra was years ago when he defeated GSP. And I'm not saying that, she's coming in with a crazy upset, but what I'm saying is we've had this story for so long in this sport, especially in the UFC. Dominant champion, everyone sleeps on the underdog, and no one gives them a chance. It's almost as if we had to sell the fight to people who don't watch fights that often. You had to say, oh, maybe the champion could get caught at some point. Or you would look at, let's use this weekend. People would say, oh, Amanda hasn't really fought like a girl as big or as tall as a Megan Anderson. So how is she going to adjust to that? People are trying to force a narrative into this fight. But for you, training Amanda and preparing for this camp, for Megan Anderson, what are some of the things that stood out to you about Megan Anderson?
Number one, and that is not even a rule, it just says law. We don't sleep on opponent. Right. We don't go by, like I said before, by underdog numbers or anything when anybody says. That is number one. If it's not number zero, comes before number one. Number two, I have heard exactly the same thing when she fought Miesha Tate, when she fought Ronda Rousey, exactly what she said. Did they say about Riley Holmes? Cyborg, oh my God, she's going to get killed and crushed by Cyborg on the first round. Of course, and that I think that is one of the things in our view that makes the big difference. Number one, we never go by what anybody says or anybody's opinion. We do what we think that we have to do to get to the level where we ready for that opponent. Secondly, or actually should be third, when you are in this business and if you think about domination, you have to do more than domination. You have to do more than just dominate. You have to be extremely barbarian and bring your legacy and make yourself not the best. Anybody can be the best. What is above the best? When you have that mentality, you don't make mistakes like most of the people do. Sleep on the opponent, on the dogs. Oh, I think the guy is not good enough to be my challenge. We don't think like that. So pretty much the answer for everything you say, she'd have fought somebody big like Megan. Nah, she fought Riley Holmes. She fought, who else was Jermaine?
Yep.
But you gave the answer, adjustment. I do see adjustment being the tool number one. It is something that creates the ability, makes you capable to adjust yourself wherever you go.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this fight, and I love that because
did I answer your question?
Yeah. No, absolutely. But too often, I think people come, they'll see, like I said, they'll see a matchup like this, and they'll say what you won't, and you're in the corner. They'll say, it's easy fight. And, who's Megan Anderson? And this is all due respect. I'm a huge personal fan of Megan Anderson. I love what she stands for. I love her as a fighter. You know what I mean? So, and for me, and this is the thing I hate about watching fights in public, never, and I'll drop the first swear of the day, never shit on two fighters who are inside a cage fighting for their livelihood. Yeah, I don't care what the skill set is. It's a fight. Sure, you could be the most dominant that doesn't mean you're going to be the best that day. So, like you said, adjustments are so key going into a fight.
If you don't show and you don't see your opponent with the respect, that is going to affect you so much as the fight comes, because you're going to think that you're not facing anybody. You're going to think that there's no dangers. In MMA, it is even you don't need more than half a second for everything to change. There's not 1 second, half, or sometimes even less than that. Everything can change. You have to have the conscience. You have to have that mentality, that view, because if you don't, you get yourself in trouble.
I mean, we could talk about the biggest mural in your gym down there in Florida in ATT. The flying knee, 5 seconds changed everything. With Jorge Masvidal and Ben Askren. So, just a few more on Amanda here. What would you expect from Amanda? You already mentioned, obviously, you should go back down to 35. She got to defend that belt. But how much longer do you, and I'm not asking for anything that you wouldn't tell anybody, but how much longer do you think she wants to stay in this game?
I don't know about she wants, I think then she has so much passion, she has so much of driving for, for fighting, for MMA. I mean, I have no idea. I think then the day then she thinks then will be enough for her is just because not love the sports anymore. It's just because, she feels like it's time for her to. When you see Amanda Nunes, you think then in reality she already achieved everything. She doesn't have any. I mean, she still has to do something. She still have to fight somebody. She has done everything. She cleaned divisions. She won both divisions. She presents herself with opponents in such of a high level, and she just crushed them. What else is left? Just because she has a passion, she has a drive, she has motivation, But I don't know. I think that we're still going to see Amanda Nunes for some time. We're still going to have that double champion, bothering, 35 and 45 division.
Does that make you not just a personal relationship you guys have, but as a coach? And obviously, I'm going to ask about him here in a minute, but your son's a fighter. You've been in the sport a very long time. You've been in there. You've seen this, what I'm about to say, you've seen it so many times, no matter at any level. How happy does it make you that you just said, what else is there for Amanda to achieve, but her passion is still there? How many times have we had this conversation in the sport, even at an amateur level or at a regional level, or sometimes you've seen these fighters, they're the best amateur fighters in the world. They don't want to go professional. And you could say, well, I've done it all. They're happy with saying, I've done it all. We see it at the UFC level. I'll go back to your gym. People are saying Conor McGregor is not the same fighter he used to be because he's got $100 million. Well, Dustin Poirier didn't care what Conor McGregor's bank account said. He didn't show up ready to fight. And now people are going, well, maybe Conor never needs to fight again. So for you, seeing all these stories of all these fighters, how happy does it make you that really Amanda could be like, there's nothing left here for me, and walk away and no one would be mad at that? But she's like, no, I have a passion for this. This is my life. This is what I love. And she continues to get in there. How happy does that make you?
My that would be because the happiness that she feels is because herself. It's not coming from anybody. She doesn't need anybody to feel good about her or criticize her or say she doesn't. She completely does things independent from what everybody thinks or what everybody likes. So definitely makes extremely happy, proud I can be, for the fact that it's not for the status, it's not from the level, it's not what she already achieved, but she's keeping going. That is a true passion. As much as I am the best of the best, I still want to go. I want to challenge myself The challenge coming from outside is so small comparing with the challenge that she does to herself. Pretty much, I think that it be the definition of what you just asked me. It is about what she thinks about herself. It is about, then when she look herself in the mirror, say, man, you done, and you continue doing, and you still continue moving. What a beautiful thing, I am my happiness comes from be part of to be part of this. I was invited, years ago to be, hey, come over, come on my dream, jump on my bus. And I'm so happy that I did. I'm so happy that we allowed, we create this relationship, we create this, friendship, this family thing. Then, we see things from a different view. It's not only be the champ. It's about, doesn't matter. Let's keep moving. You know, and one thing that I always mention, for people, they sometimes they don't understand. Then this champ was a something. Then just show up and we say, "Oh, let's be champ." No, no, no. Right there, back then, right by Misha Tate, in our conversation, you say, "Man, we can do this." Right after she won the belt, I say, we can do this. Let's go. As time, as much time as we need to, let's get it. I know you can make it. So that's I mean, the plan is keep moving.
I love it. Well, real quick, I got to ask, if I'm talking about Amanda, I got to ask about Nina. She's coming back. She'll be back later this spring.
No, she's not coming back. She's back. She's
How is she
back.
looking? How excited are you for
Oh
Nina
my God, that is another one that is more dangerous than I ever seen her before. Oh my God, she's dying to get in the mix. She's like, she has a great fight coming up in April 10 against Mackenzie. She's training. I mean, she has eyes on the prize.
And like you said, more dangerous than ever. This is the perfect time,
Yeah.
especially in this division. This division needs, Tatiana Suarez was kind of the next one in line. And now we have the neck injury. And obviously Rose now is going to fight for the title against Wiley. And it's like, if obviously I'm not saying this, but I think people could say, well, if Nina didn't take the time off to begin the family with Amanda, she'd be right there. She'd literally be right there. She left on such a high note. And this fight against Mackenzie, as you said, a great fight to come back to.
And she's coming back in a high note, Mackenzie be fighting, been winning. The thing about Nina, she's a hardcore, she's a hard chick. Let me tell you, she's when she wants you, she's gonna go after you, and believe me, she's gonna bring a fight. And especially I would say that being a mom now is, like I said, it's not about the motivation; they more dangerous.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we were starting to secretly, not you and I, but the MMA world, we're starting to be like, what if this became a reality? So I'll ask you, do you think at the end of 2021, Amanda and Nina could both be holding belts?
Yes.
And do you think that
I do not believe in impossible, Mike. I do not believe in it. Impossible is a limitation established by ourselves. Do not believe that. I'm not a dreamer. Then out of the reality is not what I'm saying. But I do believe then you can make it. Why not? Why not?
I think in our conversation we just kind of sent a message to everyone who will be listening. When people say, well, what's next for Amanda? And she can walk away at any point. Well, why would she when her wife is at 115? They just keep each other going. That's another thing, that one of the things I love talking to you. One of the many reasons I love talking to you, Coach, is because we can agree on and come to that conclusion. People don't see it in a way that you and I can see it. Why wouldn't you want to get up and go to work every day when your wife is one of the absolute best, doing the same thing that you're doing, and you guys can achieve greatness together and bring your daughter into all of this? You got to do one thing, though, and I'll stop talking about Amanda here and we'll move on. I have a few more questions for you. She cannot, I've never laughed so hard in my life watching Countdown when Nina said Amanda was like referring to having their daughter as a dog. Like, you've been around her for so long. You didn't give her any tips. Like, you can't say it's a dog. Oh, that was killing me.
They have a great relation, you know, better than ever. Man, I have been around for pretty much from the beginning. It's just such of a great thing to see two people then love each other, and do things good to each other, you know, and having a kid, and I mean, it's a good thing to see it, you know. Getting out of the fighting when you see them as just, you know, just a person, you know,
Yeah.
it is amazing.
It's beautiful, honestly.
Yes.
And it was funny to me because, you know, I've said, like, I would never be caught saying anything wrong towards Amanda, or I would be so quiet around Amanda because I wouldn't want to make her mad. And Nina's like, hey, can you stop calling our daughter a dog? And I'm like, damn, Nina, okay. She's like holding it down. She's, like you said, she's dangerous too.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful relationship. So we talk a lot about, you know, a fighter and a great friend, and someone, like we've said in the past, is like a daughter to you. Your son started off 2021 with another victory, continuing his great early young career. I mean, where do you see him going next, and just how happy are you in his last performance?
My son, he just you know, born and raised, you know, in the mats, you know, since he was a year old, he was ready on the mats, running around, being, you know, among all the, you know, jiu-jitsu and the fighters. And, you know, I mean, I wish I could be raised like that.
Me too.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. You know, but you know, I believe then through him, I kind of feel, you know, the good taste. You know what I mean? Even that is not my dream. That's his dream. That is his journey. I'm part of that. I mean, that is not mine. As much as, you know, he's my son. Um, um, I think then he has all the future in front of him. You know, the only thing then I do make sure it is then we're not going too fast, too slow. Like I said before, it is more important the direction than really the speed you're going to. We try, and when I say try, because it's through trying, then you can do things to get the right thing to do. You know, the fight, the place, the time. You know, I do believe that this phase that he is right now, it is a very important for you to get more matured as a person, as a fighter. You know, after you get to a certain level, you know, after you go to a big leagues, you don't have the time to have the kind of experience. So I think that I think no, I'm sure he's enjoying that. You know, he has two more fights in LFA. Probably we'll fight in April and again in August, something like that. Um, and we're going, you know, we're going to make decisions as comes. You know, not rush. You know, really learning. I think the process of being a great fighter, it is to be always a great student and keep that. You know, always studying, learning, adjusting, inventing. So pretty much that.
I know down in American Top Team, you guys have, you know, there's yourself, there's Mike Brown, you know, Dan Lambert, everyone's involved with everything. And, you know, as we talk about this weekend, you know, I kind of mentioned earlier, you know, Peter Yan came in from Russia, obviously because of the pandemic, to train at your gym. What is it for you as a guy, you know, very deeply into, you know, this team that sees a guy of Jan's talent, opens your doors for a guy like him, and just never be like, well, that's not my fighter. You know, I think that's one thing I love about you guys so much. It's never been like, and you have so many homegrown fighters, so many fighters that you've brought in and raised and grown up. But there's also been other fighters who you guys have opened your doors to. And I'm just curious, like, when you get a guy so special like Peter, like, what is that like for you guys and your team?
We are a team with open doors, you know, in a way. Then nowadays we I won't say we select more, but we're looking forward to as a team, not one individual, not one person, not one fighter, to grow. We believe from since day one, then we have to grow together, and being as as an American top team, it is one. If you not, I don't want to say the best number one, because I'm going to come out like really, cocky. But I do believe we are the best, one of the best teams in the planet. Um, we're not afraid of take chances. We're not afraid to take challenges. We're not afraid to, you know, um, to see how things gonna happen. Most of the people, most of the teams, most of the coaches, they try to create a such of hiding mode. I don't know if that's the way to say that, but they want to create so much of I don't want to show this, I don't want to do that. It is impossible. Everybody knows everything. It is how you, in the end of the day, it's how you put it together a performance. How we, as coaches and fighters together, create something that nobody hasn't seen yet. So we don't do things with the door locked. You know what I mean? Pretty much. It's like, oh, nobody can go to America Team. Yes, I mean,
Selective.
it is a
Yeah.
process. It is a process, of course, but for us, we see as a plus. I saw Peter coming as a plus. Great guy, great personality, very funny. Got along with everybody. Because America Top Team has I don't know if I should say a personality in the way they um, a lot of people when they come, as much as we do have, 20 coaches, 150 people there, some people feels like, oh my God, I'm in Disney. I have everything in one place, and some people don't like that. They want to be, on their own mountain, being their own lion, challenge. Because if you come to America, I'm telling you this, you're gonna be challenged. You're gonna be, you're gonna see different levels. You're gonna see one better than the other. You're gonna see different things. So you have to have your mind open, or having an open mind for what you're gonna get.
Well, I'm gonna just make it public knowledge. And clearly, I passed the process, and I'm very funny, and that's why I was able to go there for 2 days. So just so if anyone's trying me on the streets, I got 2 days at ATT. So I'll use that. I
Gives
didn't
a
get to
good
work with you.
credential. Gives you a
Huh?
good credential.
Yeah. No, but I do love that, and it's something that I can say. I'm gracious in being able to say that. I got to see that camaraderie, that atmosphere, and just the chemistry that you guys build in that gym. And I think you can go up and down, the roster, and I could pick someone. You could be like, yeah, this is exactly why.
Yeah, to give to resume a little bit what I was just saying. It is a place that being part of the team makes you have exactly the same last name as the other guys. I mean, you can be John, you can be Peter, you can be Louis, you can be Mike, whatever your name is first, but your last name is American Top Team. So that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get the mentality of we don't we don't think about giving up in anything.
Yeah, I
Nothing.
absolutely love it. Uh, Obviously, before I let you go, I got to ask because it was the biggest story of this year to start this year. Dustin Poirier, just another one, right? There's another guy we can continue to sing the praises of. Someone like you said, it's not about, don't go too fast, don't go too slow, but keep moving forward. And he's always done that. And his slogan is "Paid in Full," and he cashed in a pretty healthy and wealthy, career check with that win over Conor McGregor. And I got the questions all week leading up to that fight. Who's this guy? Because I tend to leave myself in the fan base a little bit too much, where I want to be kind of the voice where if I'm out and about and I hear people talking about the fights, I don't want to say I'm Mr. Know-It-All, but I don't want people, in essence, shitting on a Dustin Poirier before the fight because you've never watched his fights. You know, that's not Dustin's fault that you didn't watch his fights. So if you walked into that fight or went into your parents' house or your uncle's house or your best friend's house and you were like, Conor McGregor's going to smoke this guy, blah, blah, blah. And then Dustin does what he does and you go, oh, this is the biggest upset ever. I couldn't see it come. You just don't understand the sport. You just don't watch it. You watch whenever SportsCenter tells you to watch it. And that's the one thing I'll always harp on. And I think it's absolute BS that there are fans out there that are like that. So getting back to Dustin, what was it like, again, just like you've been with Amanda for so long, to see a guy up and down, bet on himself, go up to 55, have the issues with the hip, and then the Nate Diaz fight, and all this, and it's back and forth. And he's gone through so many wars. I couldn't express that enough to people. He's been through so many wars that fighters would walk away after one of his wars. He's been through so many of them, and he caps it off so far because he's got more to accomplish, obviously. But he caps it off and starts this year with the big win over Conor. Just how happy were you for Dustin?
First of all, the majority of the people, they like to criticize or give them opinion without knowing or understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, so it is about what they see the very first lay of the situation. It is what it is. You know, it's nothing you can do about it. But going back to Dustin, that is the proof of reinvent yourself. It is of believing yourself, and all this, you know, qualities of feelings that you have to achieve a goal. You know, like you said, you know, I don't remember when it was Dustin's first fight. It was in what was in the UFC? It was in what is the show that the UFC had before?
Blanket. Strike?
Yeah, me too. No, it was not Strike Force. It was another one. Mike Brown was the champion there.
WEC?
WEC.
Yeah.
So that's when you see Justin fighting from WEC. And it's being a tough, tough road for him, you know. But as you see, yeah, he's better than the Dustin that show up before, you know. And I don't see him stopping. I don't see him, taking a break. I don't see him really, take any time. He's pretty much soon he's gonna go back and fight again. And I mean, I will never bet against him. He's a difficult fighter, difficult opponent, you know, for you to face it. So, you know,
two questions for on Dustin for you. One, is it fair to call him the uncrowned champion? I mean, we have no idea what's going on with Khabib. It seems like Dana's hanging on to Khabib's leg, asking him to stay there. I mean, Dustin's done everything except if Khabib's not going to stick around, who else could you call champion at 55? It's got to be Dustin.
I agree 100%. After what he showed on his last fight, against Conor McGregor, and I don't care what the people say. Oh, Conor McGregor didn't train right. He has 100 million. I don't think that is about that. He could have 200 million. You think the guy is going to put himself in a position of about going there and get his ass beat by somebody and be embarrassed, as a putting down? No, of course not. It's not. No, it's not. Such a thing doesn't happen. It's just because Justin's was much better than Conor McGregor. That was not. He trained for it. They fought before. He learned. Justin being improving, learning. I mean, all those things. And so I really don't think that it has that to do about Conor. It was just because Dustin was there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so simple that I think then most of the people don't want to create something for them to see it. That's okay.
No, I love that because that's one of the things I've been saying. Like, okay, so McGregor's got $100 million. So why would he get back into a cage? So why are you underestimating the guy he's
training?
Right. Why is he training?
Why you be training? Why you be in the pushing, pulling,
exactly.
sweating, bruising,
weight cutting?
Why? I don't need the money. I mean, he's going to make another 15, $20 million with $100 million. How many generations he already paid for it?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
why
many.
do you need it? Why do you need money? Why do you, what is the reason you putting yourself in that position? So come on, just, you know, it's like I said, people just want to talk.
Well, I gotta ask this one because I think this is a little confusing for me, but I'm not mad at it, right? So right after the fight, it's almost like what we're getting this weekend when Israel Adesanya beat Paulo Costa. Dana White came out and said, "Oh yeah, Izzy's gonna fight for the light heavyweight title," and people were like, "Where did that come from?" Like, Dana, you're the first person to sit at a post-fight press conference and when someone asks you, "Hey, is this opponent next for this guy?" Dana goes, "I don't know. I'm not going to match make until Tuesday." But we have certain instances, and I think it's with special fighters, right? And, that's kind of how the Megan and Amanda fight came. People said, "Hey, Megan just won. Amanda's ready to defend." Boom, that fight was made. Izzy and Jan, that fight was made. Dustin beats Connor. Dustin says it. Dana says it. Connor says it. Oh, we're going to run that back. It's the trilogy. Now, obviously, I think it's kind of buying some time with whatever Khabib decides to do. But for you, knowing Dustin, I mean, again, it's almost maybe not similar, but kind of comparative that you can say, what else should Dustin do that's better than another fight with Connor right now? Financially, it makes the most sense. It puts the trilogy to rest. When he goes in and gets a second win against Connor, then there's no argument about who the best person is at 155. But for you, like, did it surprise you that there was such a quick turnaround of like, yeah, we're going to do the trilogy?
Michael, that's part of being an MMA world, doesn't have any, um, I would say, and things like that doesn't have rules.
Yeah.
I that's the only way I can answer the question because sometimes it's not about how you deserve it. It's about what is the best to bring two fighters together because the money, because the attraction. I don't know. I think that in my opinion, like you say, Dustin is already the champion on that division after the last fight. It was just a matter of being, having the belt around his waist. Um, and if you ask me, what would be better for him to fight for the title or fight for with the trilogy with the Conor? I'll probably say then financially, probably be better fight Conor McGregor. Even if he's wrong, he should be fighting for the title. But like I say, that is MMA. That is part of being an MMA. Having this crazy ups and downs and quick or sometimes long decisions. That they make it. Um, you gotta adapt yourself. You gotta. It has been a long time. Then I will ask myself, hey, why this happened? But the guys in the ranking, the guys is this and that. That is MMA.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. You know, if you want to stay and play the game, you gotta play the game the way the game is.
Were you happy to see the difference in the second meeting between, not in the cage, but I mean the way they interacted with? Obviously, it's 6-7 years ago from their first meeting. They're both fathers now, but it seemed like a very mature meeting between two of the best fighters in the world. Where I think 7 years ago it was a meeting of two very very good young fighters they were both driven emotionally. I think Dustin has said it. Connor, obviously, we know he's driven by emotion. Were you happy to see just how different this second meeting was between them?
Um, Starting saying that I'm an old school guy.
Yeah,
I'm not. I was never like the talking, the trash talking. I was never my thing. I do believe that you can give the message. You can say whatever you want to say. I just don't like that. That when you exceed a little bit, I don't think then you got to go to the main area. You know what I mean? You cannot cross the line. But like I say, it's part of MMA. I think that when you talk trash, that makes the fight more attractive. I think.
yeah.
It is a kind of a fashion kind of thing. Um, but I was extremely happy to see more the professional than the talking.
Yeah.
Even I saw fire in both sides. You know what I mean? Of course, because it's impossible in the level of what they both fighting. We be too peaceful. You got to be aggressive. You got to be violent. You got to be barbarian. And you got to claim your property. You got to claim your status. So you have to talk. But I just don't like that. I didn't like before. I thought then when you start bringing things in the fight, then it's involve your family
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something that has nothing to do with that. I kind of, in my opinion, in my way to see things, a little bit of the value of you in the fight.
No, I absolutely agree with you. Now, last question on Dustin. Have you tried the hot sauce? And how is it?
No, no, no. I don't eat anything spicy. No way. No way.
Oh, that's awesome.
That won't happen.
I haven't tried it either. I want to get some. But, Coach, I want to say thank you for all your time. I'll put myself on blast here. I was going to wear the American Top Team shirt I had and the hoodie for this interview, but I didn't want to come off too biased. Like I said, I am a fan of a lot of the
Make
fighters.
sure you wear that on Saturday. I want to see a picture.
I will show you. I got to come back down so I can get some more.
Yeah.
I think I got old stuff. But no, I definitely will. I've worn it like every Amanda fight, just because you guys, as you have treated your fighters in the past, you treat me just as one of your. I feel like when you guys have a fight,
welcome, Mike.
American Top Team is my last name when you guys have a fight. So I definitely appreciate that. And it's different. People say, well, you can't have favorites, can't do this. I don't see it that way. I see it as, again, I was welcomed in by an entire team. And I've never felt happier to see all this success. And I'm not just talking the Dustins or the Amandas. I'm talking about your son and some of the younger fighters on your roster. Every single person who represents that gym, it makes me so happy to see them go in there, do what they love, walk away with a W or walk away with a lesson learned. And it makes me excited for the comeback. So I'm so excited for you and your team this weekend. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
I appreciate everything you said, and like I say, you're always welcome there. Doors open, and we talk soon. Just make sure that you send me a picture wearing hats and t-shirts.
I don't have a hat, so I'll find a hat that I can wear that matches. But I'll definitely send a picture this weekend. And I got to say, it was way too long for us to go without talking, and I know Nina fights in April, so we'll make sure
we will talk after the fight if you want.
Yeah, that works for me. Best of luck this weekend, Coach, and all the best to you and your team.
I appreciate you a lot, Mike.